right, so we'll get started here. So first things first, you're gonna need a pen and a paper or some way of taking notes. We're first gonna be evaluating this past year and really getting a look at what goals you did not accomplish from this past year before we make our goals for this next. And then we're going to be going into creating our digital vision board, which is going to be so fun. So if you have a computer up, an iPad up, something where you can kind of switch, so you can look at the online version of your vision board, that would be awesome. But I'm really going to be giving you guys the overview today because sometimes making a vision board can take a long time. We're going to learn how to do it quicker, but you're really going to get everything you need to know in order to create a beautiful online digital vision board. So if you're here in my community today, it's probably because you have some eating habits you want to change this year. And we're going to talk about how you can change those eating habits in a way that's much more fun and easier, and doing that with a vision board. Because having a clear vision of where you want to go is what actually finally helped me stop overeating and transform my relationship with food. When I could start to visualize what is my ideal relationship with food, what does that look like, everything became so much easier. So many of us say, I want to stop overeating, I want to get healthier, but that's very vague. And studies have shown that when we're able to visualize our goal and go through deeper visualizations, that actually activates our brain's reward system. So it releases dopamine, which motivates us to take action and stay persistent. So if you don't know me, hello, I am Amber. I am a binge eating and overeating coach. I help people rewire their brain to feel normal and in control around food permanently. Now, why am I even here teaching you this in the first place? I myself struggled with eating issues on all ends of the spectrum, from calorie counting to having really strict food rules, and then to all out YOLO and complete binge eating, eating thousands of calories, to anywhere in between. So then I started struggling with overeating, where I wasn't really fully binge eating, but I was still not eating in a way I wanted to eat. I was still gaining weight. I still wasn't feeling the best in my body. I went to therapy. I went to years of coaching to try to help get me out of this. And I really fell in love with coaching so much because it's the only thing that actually helped me change. So I was able to get trained in coaching the unconscious brain so I could help other people overcome the same issues that I did. So today what we're going to learn is first cleaning up any past year drama that may be tainting your thoughts. Because if we go into the new year feeling ashamed or down that maybe we didn't hit our goals or we're not where we want to be, that's only going to create more of that in the new year. So we need to get any of that taken care of out of the way up first. Then we're going to discover why vision boards work. So why are we even making one in the first place? What's the science behind them? Then we're going to go over the top 3 mistakes that I see people making with vision boards and setting their goals that actually sabotage them and make it so much harder. And then finally, you're going to learn how to design this really beautiful proven vision board that will work to help you get to any of your goals this year. So again, we're going to use this vision board to stop overeating. But if you have any other goals, like we all probably do, you can use the same process and apply it to that as well. So the first thing we're going to start is by evaluating your 2024. So I want you to get out your pen and paper, get out a digital note, however you want to do this evaluation. Because if we don't spend time to evaluate what's happened, we miss out on a lot of valuable learning. A lot of people, when they have slip-ups with food or things aren't going the way they want to, they binge, they overeat, we just try to forget about it. We don't want to look at it. We don't want to acknowledge it. But then we miss out on opportunities to see where growth can happen. So maybe you did hit a lot of your goals this year, but because our brain has this negativity bias where it likes to look for all the things that have gone wrong to try to keep us safe, we might not have actually celebrated those things yet. Or maybe you didn't hit some goals and we just want to clean up any of that drama and take away the insights before looking to the next year. So I'll give you guys a couple of minutes and I want you to go through these questions. What did you accomplish? What you're proud of, so you can take those learning moments and continue to do that in the new year. Not everything is failing. Looking at the goals that you didn't reach and what's your best guess for why they happened. And then what did you learn? And feel free to put these in the chat as well too, if you want any help evaluating them or going deeper with them. So I will share, I had a few personal goals this year that I didn't reach. And sometimes we set these very arbitrary rules around, I want to lose 10 pounds in 2 months. And it's like, how did we even create that rule? Where did that come from? So you might have not reached some goals this year yet. And what was interesting for me was with this personal goal, the first thing I felt was embarrassment. And it was just so fascinating for me to have this experience where I was just really discouraged around it. And I was discouraged about thinking about the year ahead. And maybe you feel this way too. Maybe you're not at the weight you want to be at, or you're still secret eating and hiding it from your partner, or your relationship with food is now impacting your children's relationship with food, and you're starting to see them mirror the behaviors. So you might start to feel some shame around it, and that is totally okay. But we just really want to acknowledge these feelings and know that they happen to everyone at time, at every level. And even when you become a natural eater, you're going to have big emotions. And it's so important that you learn how to process them now, not only to stop emotional eating, but also just as an essential life skill. So the first time that I vocalized to my personal coach that I was kind of feeling embarrassed that I didn't hit this goal, it was the second that I felt freed from that embarrassment and I can move forward from it. So you don't necessarily have to say anything out loud if you didn't hit your goals to stop overeating this year, but I just want you to take a second and acknowledge it for yourself and just make a promise to move forward today, having that compassion and empathy for yourself, because wherever you are today is absolutely perfect for you. And we never want to set our new goals from this emotion of lack or scarcity or shame, because that will only create more of that and lead to it compounding in the year ahead. So we're going to get excited about the possibilities for next year. Does anyone want to share anything that they did accomplish or their guesses of why they might not have reached their goals and any learnings?
I can share.
Yeah.
So I got married about a year and a half ago, almost a year and a half ago. And when that happened, I gained a lot of weight and I kind of stopped exercising as much as I used to. And I kind of just like only ate what my husband ate.
Mm.
Um, and so I think something I've done well this past year is kind of assert myself and like, okay, this is actually what I want to eat. I'm going to prioritize making sure that that comes through on the grocery order that we do.
Mhm.
Um, so even though like I still haven't quite lost the weight that I want to, that's kind of what I'm wanting to focus on with my goals right now. But I'm still proud of myself for making small steps to kind of make that happen.
Yeah, totally. Thank you for sharing that, Afton. And it sounds like what you're doing is prioritizing you. And that's something that might be new, especially as you're going through this identity shift as someone who's now a wife and knowing like, who am I as a wife? Who do I want to be? How can I still prioritize me and my goals in the relationship, even if it's different than my husband's? Because ultimately, you and your husband are very different people. And this goes with anyone with a husband or wife, is any person has different needs for your unique body. So we can't expect our eating habits to look exactly like our partners because we're different humans. We're going to have different calorie expenditures. We're going to have different genetics. And so we have to take care of ourselves first. So great learning and great lessons. All right, so let's go into why we want to make a vision board. So 90 to 97% of all of our brain processes are unconscious, automatic, and on autopilot. This is a lot, right? A lot of what we do is just going in loops over and over and over again. Now, this is why I use a lot of techniques in my coaching that target the unconscious brain. And this is something I don't see a lot of coaches doing. This is when we say something like, well, I know what to do, I'm just not doing it. Who has said that before? I think we all have of, I know how to eat healthy, but I'm just not doing it. I know how to work out, but I'm not doing it. That is because you likely have something in your unconscious brain that is coming up and blocking you. Something like it feels unsafe for me to let go of these eating habits. Maybe you had something that in your past and it felt safer to overeat, or it feels safer to your brain because it feels like it's getting a better chance at survival by eating more food. So sometimes there's these blocks coming up. Now, we take in so much more from our environment than we imagine. So much of our environment has a lot of impact on our unconscious brain. For example, if there is a lemon scent in the room, studies have shown that people are much more likely to be honest. For some reason, people associate lemon with cleanliness, and then they're more honest, right? There's also an example of in psych wards, they have this bright pink room, and it really it sobers people up. It gets them out of their psychosis because it's a really bright pink color. So all of these, there's another one I'm thinking of. When people are in a softer chair, they're more receptive to new information and ideas. Right. So if you're working with me in coaching, I always recommend make sure you're comfy, get comfy, because that's going to help you be more receptive to new ideas. So all of these things in our everyday life, we might not realize are impacting us, but they are. And so having something we can see every day, having this board with our vision, our goals, our dreams, how we want to be is going to make our life so much easier and make it easier for our brain to visualize how we want to be. Now, there's something else in our brain called the reticular activating system, or the RAS for short. Our reticular activating system is what searches for information, and it influences what we focus on. So vision boards actually engage our brain's reticular activating system by helping us focus on what we want. So for example, let's say you're thinking about buying a new car. You're buying a Honda CRV. That's the car I have. I love it. You're thinking, you know what? I want a Honda CRV. Then all of a sudden you're noticing, wow, there seems to be Honda CRVs everywhere out there on the road. You see one there and there and there and there. That's your brain's reticular activating system at play. It's actively looking for what it wants to find. It's looking for that car. So by repeatedly seeing our goals visually, your brain begins to actively search for ways to align yourself with those goals. So every time you see it on your wall, every time you see it on your phone, we can more easily get into the state of creating the thoughts, feelings, and actions necessary to create that result. So it's going to make it a lot easier for us. Now, some common mistakes that people make when making a vision board. The first one is creating goals in the negative. Now, what I mean by this is using the words don't, stop, and no. Okay, you might want to write those down. Don't, stop, and no. These are the negative words that our unconscious brain doesn't really hear. So this is what a lot of people will do with their goals. I want to stop overeating. I want to stop gaining weight. No more snacking. Don't do this anymore, right? I want to stop feeling so bad in my body. Notice how all of those are really focused on the negative, right? So your brain doesn't unconsciously really see that word no. All it hears is the word after. So all it hears is overeating, snacking, gaining weight. And that's what you create more of. So instead, we want to focus on what you do want. So I do want to listen to my hunger and fullness cues. I do want to eat mindfully. I do want to feel energized. I do want to focus on how I'm feeling internally. Those are the things that are actually going to work so much better as far as goal setting goes, because it's going to focus on what you specifically want to create, and it feels much better. I want you to think about how you feel in your body when you're waving the finger at yourself and telling yourself to stop overeating. Don't do this anymore. It kind of feels like a parent's coming down on you and telling you what to do and what you don't want to do. And what do we often do when we have that happen is we want to rebel. We want to say, you can't tell me what to do. I'm going to go eat that chocolate. And so we go against it versus saying, I want to feel good in my body. That's going to feel so much more energetically aligned and easier to follow through with. The second mistake I see people make on their vision boards is using shame-based imagery. This one is so common. People make a vision board and then they go to Pinterest and they find their dream body. They find this little skinny woman or this person with these toned abs and toned legs. And they're like, yes, this is how I want to look. This is the image I'm going to put front and center on my vision board. Now, one of the problems with this is we're only focusing on how we look. We're focusing on the outside appearances, these external motivators. This is the same thing with the number on a scale. If you put, I want to weigh 120 pounds, and you put an image of the scale of that on your vision board, that too is only focusing on what we want the end result we want it to be versus how we need to act and feel in that moment. And when we do that, it's easy to get discouraged, because if you think, I want to look like this, chances are, because you're using this random model on Pinterest, you might not get there. And that leads us to feeling discouraged and hopeless. And if we're emotional eaters, what do we do when we're feeling hopeless? We go to food, and then we continue the same cycle. So when you're finding these images for our vision board, which we're going to do in a minute, I want you to check in with yourself and ask yourself, Does this image make me feel like shit about myself? And if the answer is yes, don't use them. When I finally stopped overeating, I was able to lose 30 pounds. But the interesting part is I didn't focus on weight loss at all. It was the second that I decided I don't really care if I lose weight anymore. I just want to feel normal around food. I just want to stop overeating. Then that's when it started happening. So I focused on creating my dream eating habits. How would I love to eat forever and ever that would feel really good to me? And once I focused on those actual habits, that's when everything shifted. So I'm going to teach you today how to use habit-based images for your vision board. And the third mistake that a lot of people make is making these very vague or unrealistic goals. So if you say something like, I want to get healthy this year, what does that even mean to get healthy? I mean, health is like a million different factors that is so vague. And getting healthy, we don't really know when we hit it because we can always be more healthy. So checking in on if your goals are actually, if they're too vague and if they're realistic or not, right? If your goal is to lose 50 pounds this year, depending on where you're at, that may or may not be realistic. But if your goal is to heal your relationship with food, a lot of times we have these huge weight loss goals that are given to us because we live in a world that wants to sell us quick results. Never have you seen on a magazine how to sustainably lose 1 pound a month for 12 years, and make it really, really slow and sustainable. It's always like how to lose 20 pounds in 1 week and do it in this really quick way. So that's the expectations we have for ourselves. So we want to make sure to check in. Okay, is this very specific and is this realistic for what I'm wanting to achieve? A time I see this happening is with other goals too. If you've ever seen people's vision boards and they have like a mansion up and a really fancy car, not to say you're not going to get those things, but it might feel unrealistic right now. And this is the same thing that happens when I see people making body affirmations. So if you've ever been told, just fake it till you make it and just start to believe, I love my body. I think it's super sexy. Everything's beautiful about it. But you don't really believe that with like an inch of your body. You're like, nah, I do not feel comfortable and confident in my body. What happens when you say those affirmations to yourself? It goes right over your head. No part of it sticks to you. And in fact, it can actually make you feel worse because you feel bad that you don't believe it. You feel bad that you don't believe your body's beautiful. You feel bad that you don't really accept your body right now. So if you're putting a giant mansion up, but you're like, I'm not going to get a mansion this year. Maybe I can dream big one day, but it's like, maybe I want to put a picture of my bathroom renovation that I want to do. And that feels exciting. That feels like something that can actually happen this year. So next, we're going to go into creating your 2025 vision. So we're going to go through some exercises and questions now to help you get inspired with what things you might want to put on your vision board. Now, first, we're going to brainstorm your goals. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to do this, and then we're going to go into a guided visualization together. Now, this does not have to be the longest list in the world. Honestly, the shorter your list is, the more likely it's going to be to happen. A lot of times we like to get very idealistic in our goal setting, and it feels really fun, and we get this big hit of dopamine from writing out this goal list of 100 different things we want to happen this year. We want to make sure this actually happens, so keep it short. So I love this question of, what would you love to happen this year? Now, this is different than I want this, because sometimes I want this feels very attached, or I need to lose 10 pounds this year. That feels very pressured. Like I have to do this. But instead, if we say, I would love for this to happen today, it feels very expansive and very open to the possibilities. So let's take like 1 minute to write down this, and then we'll do a little visualization and we'll add to this list. There was also a statistic that showed that people who wrote down their goals and shared them with others achieved 42% more of their goals than the people who didn't. So it's important to write them down and really make this declaration on what you would love to happen. All right, I'm going to pause you guys there. We're going to have some more time to come back to this one, but I'm going to pause you to do a little visualization because you have your things of what you think you would love to happen this year. But to go even deeper with them, we're going to do this guided exercise, and visualization is something that is so, so, so powerful. I did this with one of my clients once, Ginger. I have her podcast interview out on Become a Confident Eater podcast if you want to listen to her full story. But she was someone, she could not have peanut butter in the house. Anytime she had peanut butter in the house, she would eat a third of the jar every single time. And then we did a visualization together where I walked her through the exact steps of what she wanted and how she wanted to feel. And that very next day, she was able to have just 1 teaspoon of peanut butter and never binged on a third of a jar again. So don't underestimate the power of visualization. It is so, so important. So I want everyone to take a minute, getting comfortable in your chair. Hopefully it's a comfy one. And we're just going to take a minute to close our eyes together. Starting with a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And I want you to take a second and imagine it's the end of 2025. Right? It's New Year's Eve, 2025 next year. And at the end of this year, you've stopped overeating. You've achieved your dream eating habits. You're feeling the way you want to feel in your body and in your mind. And I want you to get really clear about what that life looks like for you. What does your life look like as this natural eater? Just taking a minute to notice what you can notice about that life. Noticing the feelings you have in your body. How would you describe that? What habits and routines have transformed your life and been helpful? Noticing what it feels like to feel successful around food, having been there, and how it impacts the rest of your life positively. You can ask that future version of you if she has any advice to offer you about what you need to do starting today to get there with your dream habits with food. You guys can slowly start to open your eyes as you're ready. And then write down anything else that came to you during that visualization. Any other feelings, habits, routines, advice that you want to add to this list of what you would love to happen this year. If anyone wants to share any of their goals, I can help you clarify them further and really make sure they're distilled down. Everyone here is in the same position where we're here to heal our relationship with food, to achieve our dream eating habits. So anything you share, I'm sure can inspire some other people too. Yeah, Cindy. Oh, Cindy, you're muted.
Thanks. I said I would love to hit a natural set point for my body that feels comfortable for me.
Yeah. And what do you think might need to happen in order for you to achieve that?
I need to listen to my body, stop when I feel full, and learn to eat when I'm hungry and not just because of a certain time and because the food looks good.
Yeah. So that's the goal I want you to focus on, right? When you learn to listen to your body, to eat when you're only hungry, and not all the other times where you're snacking, and then to stop at fullness, that's what will get you to your natural set point weight, right? We can't just decide, today I'm going to become at my natural set point weight. We have to do the actions that will lead to that, which is exactly as you mentioned, listening to your hunger and fullness, right? So you can see how having that focus will help give you that result, but will give you more clarity on what you're actually doing on the day-to-day to get there.
Okay, I see.
Thanks for sharing. All right, so next we want to look at the feelings we want to have this year. Feelings are the most powerful thing we can identify because feelings are what drive our actions, right? So if we want to do something like listen to our hunger and fullness, but we're feeling hopeless the whole time, guess what? We're not going to do a very good job listening to our hunger and fullness because we're going to say, I just can't do it. It's not possible for me. I've been dieting too long. I don't know how to do this without counting calories, right? But if we have the feelings there first of I feel hopeful and I feel inspired and I feel motivated and determined to do this and figure out my hunger and fullness, that's what's going to create an easier action. So it will make the actions that we need to get there easier when we have these aligned emotions. So I want you to think about, what feelings do you want to have? Is it freedom you want to feel around food? I mentioned inspired, determined, hopeful, maybe energetic. And once you have the feelings, keep in mind, we're going to put images on our vision board that are going to make us feel that way. So if you want freedom around food, you're going to think about putting images on your vision board that represent freedom to you, that make you feel free. If you want more energy this year, then you might want to use like really bright, vibrant photos on your vision board to represent that high energy. And then, of course, looking at these actions. So as I just clarified with Cindy, of looking at what will I specifically do to create these things that I want, right? Because if we don't do the actions, if we don't do anything to make it happen, it's just a wish, it's just a goal, it's just a vision that we have, but we have to take action to make it happen. And then finally, to wrap up our goal setting for this year, I want you to look at what would achieving your eating goals do for you in your life. So if you could achieve this goal of becoming a natural eater, of being an intuitive eater, of listening to your hunger and fullness, what else would that change for you? Because the truth is, achieving your eating goals actually opens up the door to so much more, because eating is the foundation of our life. It's one of our most basic needs. So when you stop overeating, will you be more excited to travel because you're not worried about the calories on the menu anymore? Will your relationship with your partner improve because you're feeling more confident in your body and you want to go on more date nights? Maybe you stop lashing out at them because you overate last night. You're so mad at yourself. So now you take it out on your husband. Maybe you'll have more energy. So playing with your kids becomes easier. It becomes easier to show up to work. Maybe you have time for other hobbies. Thinking about what other hobbies you want to create in your life. So let's include all of these and what all of the changes to your eating habits will change for you in your life as well. And when we do this, when we see this wider impact, it can help deepen our motivation too. Like, wow, when all of this can improve just by me working on my relationship with food, it becomes easier to make that a priority in our life and not just keep pushing it back every day for every other goal we have. Anyone want to share their answers to any of these prompts, what their goals are, what they goals would do for them, what their life would look like that might be different? Feel free to put it in the chat or unmute. All right, well, we're going to move on now to actually creating this vision board. So let me put in the chat here, I'm going to put the link to a template that's going to be your template for the vision board. So we're going to use a website called Canva. Canva is totally free. You might need to make an account if you don't have one already when you click this link. I'm not sure because I already have a Canva account, so test it out and see, but you might just be able to open it and start creating it. Now, we're going to do it on Canva because it makes it super easy and simple on how to design this digital vision board. If you've ever made a vision board in the past, you might have used a magazine, which you can totally do. You're welcome to use magazine flyers, like pasting it all together on a physical piece of paper. But I find a digital one is really fun because you can make it much more beautiful and much more specific to what you actually want. So when you open up that link, you'll make a copy of it and it will come to a page that looks like this. And so I'm going to walk you through how exactly to make this vision board. But just know too, if you are trying to follow along and make it at the same time, I know it can be kind of hard to do both. So maybe scheduling in just 15 minutes today to work on your vision board. It's such a fun thing to do too. I always love creating my vision board each year. But I want you to pay attention so you can see the features of Canva and how to actually create this. So the first thing here, there is like a little template that you can add in pictures to, or at the very end here, there's a little blank page. And the format of this is the poster size. So this is going to be one that you're going to be able to create as a printout. I'll show you how to do that, or you can make it as a phone screensaver. So this is like a general template, or again, if you want to start from blank, there's a blank one at the bottom. So I'll show you kind of how I did mine last year. And what you first want to do is start by adding in images. So images are the most fun part. We get to find images for all the things we want. So you can see some of my images here. I have like a picture of friends because one of my goals is to have more connected friendships. And there's a little picture of people at the table. Pictures of your grocery cart, what that might look like. So if you have a goal to eat more whole foods, maybe you put a picture of whole looking foods. I have some flexibility goals. Some of these pictures I just love. They just make me like, they give me this feeling of joy when I look at them. And so you're going to find images. There's a lot of different places you can find images. You can just Google them. You can go on Pinterest and look for images of the things you want. So if, like I said, if you want to eat more whole foods, maybe look up grocery cart of whole foods. If you want to feel more freedom, maybe you look for images that represent freedom, or if you just like freedom, some things that inspire you. If you want to be more mindful this year, maybe you put down a picture of a journal or someone meditating. For mindful eating, maybe you put a picture of a beautifully plated meal. One thing I encourage all of my clients to do is always to plate their food. So always to put their food on a plate because it helps create a clear beginning and end. So maybe you want to put a picture of a plate to remind you that you want to eat mindfully. You can also go in here in elements. Oh, look, I was already searching for it. If you look up freedom, so maybe you say like, wow, this picture really represents freedom for me. You can just take the image and drag and drop it onto the board. Maybe you want to have more consistent workouts. So maybe you put a picture of like gym shoes up. So you can search in elements here. Yeah, so maybe you put a picture of the gym shoes. Maybe you put a picture of a restaurant meal if you want to be better about not having anxiety when you go out to eat and being more mindful at restaurants. You want to manage your emotions more. Again, maybe putting that journal If you want to be able to go to a birthday party and be able to say no, maybe you put pictures of events up there so you can practice thinking about, how do I want to show up at these events? So lots of different ideas for how you can do it. I'm curious too if they even have under elements, food plated photos. Yeah, these would probably be good. Like you could put an image of a plate to remind you to put all your food mindfully. This looks like a nice balanced plate too. So that would be a good thing if your goal is to have more like protein, carbs, and veggies all balanced out. So then after we add in images, we want to add in words. So words can be really anything you want. I like to create a word of the year. I don't know if anyone's ever created a word of the year. If you have, I'd love for you to put it in the chat and know what it is. But a word of the year can be really nice to kind of sum up how you want it to be. So my word of the year last year was joy. And I put it over this like picture of this lady in the ocean because she just looks like the most joyful person ever. And I think it's such a cool picture to embody joy. So maybe you have a word of the year and you want to put that on there. Maybe you want to put some quotes. So maybe you look up some quotes, quotes for mindful eating, quotes to stop overeating. I can give you a few examples of my favorites. If hunger is not the problem, food is not the solution. That would be a good one to put on there. Some affirmations to remind you of the things you want to be reminded of. Then on here, you can play around with the fonts too. So to add text, you just go over to this little bar here, text, and then you can just add a text box. And then you can play around with different fonts. You can even scroll down here. There's like lots of different fun things. You can make it as beautiful as you want with all these different fonts. You can click on the text box. You can make it different fonts here, different sizes. You can make it bold. If you go here, more effects, you can make it a background. There's really just so much you can play around with, but we want to keep it simple too. So maybe you should add a text box with a few different things that you want to add. And again, any words or affirmations you add on here, you want them to feel good. So anything you want to check in with your body, and if you say, oh, this doesn't make me feel good about myself, or this doesn't really feel like I believe it, don't put it on there. You want it to be something that you believe. So I love this one. I always get what I want, because we're always getting what we actually want, and it's always how it is supposed to be. If it was supposed to be different, it would be different. So this reminds me that whatever reality I've created was what I wanted in some way, shape, or form. So then we want to add in our personal pictures. Now, this is a really important step that a lot of people miss, right? They put all their fun pictures on. When we put pictures of things we already have or things that already bring us joy, what it does is it shows our subconscious that all these other things can be a reality, right? It sees, oh, look, I've created this amazing thing in my life before. Maybe I can create this too. So this picture I have here, I'll make it bigger so you guys can see it. I lived in Copenhagen, Denmark for 3 months, and this was the view out my window. Isn't that gorgeous? It was so amazing. But when I lived there, I wanted to put this picture up here to show myself that I can create the travels of my dreams. I can do these things because look, I've already done this. So it shows my brain, hey, look, if I can do that, maybe I can do this other travel dream that I want. I have a picture of me and my best friend. We're swimming in an ocean. She has her goggles on, and it always just makes me laugh and giggle, this picture of us. And so this is a picture that brings me a lot of joy. And you want to have pictures that bring you joy. So when you look at this vision board, you feel really good. So putting those things that you already have, that you've already accomplished, these big dreams that you've already created for yourself. And it also helps with gratitude, which is a really high level state to be in. When we can be in gratitude, it's so much easier to do the things we want to do because we're already feeling really good. So some other ideas, you can Photoshop some pictures. So for example, if you have a specific money goal, you can screenshot your bank account securely and you can like white out how much money you want to have in your bank account. And that makes it more realistic because your brain thinks, oh, look, it's almost like I have that money in my bank account. So it's creating a familiarity with it. So it feels more achievable. You could ask your friend or partner to send you an email saying, congrats on the new house, as like a way of thinking about, wow, this is like I had a new house. Or, a text from a friend. You could text yourself and say, I'm so proud of you for finally achieving your natural eating goals, as if someone were to text that to you. So making it realistic for y'all. Now, the ultimate thing I want you to remember about your vision board, do not get perfectionistic about this, okay? Do not be the person who makes a half of one and puts 2 pictures on it and never looks at it again. because we've all been guilty of that before. I know a lot of us here are perfectionists. We get perfectionists about our food and our eating habits, but this is not the time to be perfectionistic. This is the time to get something done, because having simple and done is better than perfection that's unfinished. So just start small. Even if you spend 15 minutes just putting 3 pictures on there and 2 words and 1 quote, great, do that. Now, excuse me. Once you have your vision board done, what you can do from there is a few things. My favorite thing, I'm actually traveling right now. I'm in Utah visiting some friends, but at home, I have my vision board pasted up on my wall. And I wish I brought it here because I wanted to show you all it, but I forgot it. But what you can do is print it out. So once you design it on this page, let's say you have it all done or you design it at the bottom here, feel free to delete all my pictures if you want. We can go up here, print with Canva. And what you can do, you can get a little preview. So you can see this is the preview of how that original one looked like. Of course, you'd have more pictures on it. And you can literally get a poster to put on your walls. Like this is how it would look. So you can put it in your office. You can put it in your bedroom and have this vision board to look at all year round. And what's really nice about it, so you'd pick what page you want, what size you want. If you do a medium one, it's only $15 with free shipping. So it's really affordable to get it shipped to your house. And it is just such a beautiful thing to have. There's different like poster types. If you want it to be museum quality fine art, you can, but gloss is the cheapest one. And I find medium was a good size. You can look, there's different sizes here. I think I have the medium one, but it's really cool. You can see like how it looks in your space. Sounds like pretty small. That one's only $12. So very affordable to get it printed out. And it really does look very beautiful to have on your wall. Now, something else you can do if you go into File and Resize, you can resize it as something like a phone screensaver. So I think we can just look screensaver. So yeah, iOS for an iPhone home screen, you can do that. They should have one for your computer too. Maybe computer wallpaper, that was something cool. Yeah, desktop wallpaper, phone wallpaper. If you look up that, you can click it and then you can say copy and resize. And it will resize your design to perfectly fit it as a phone wallpaper, which is really cool. Or you can resize it as a computer screen. Now, when you resize it, you might need to adjust some things around. You might need to move some pictures how you want it. But then you can download this, make it as your phone home screen, make it as your computer screen. The more places you can see it, the better. I still have mine. You can see mine from this past year up. It's on my home screen still. So I'm still working on creating mine for this year. But then once I do, I'm going to change out my home screen and I'll have it all year round. So does anyone have any questions so far on how to create a vision board? Any ideas for what they want to do? So the most important part of the vision board is really making sure you take this inspired action, right? If you just put all these images up and you think, I'm done, nothing will change. So you really want to make sure that you're doing the important things to make these changes. So for example, I'll give you another example besides food. If your goal is to find your dream partner, what you need to do is get out of the house. You can't just create your vision of a dream partner and sit on your couch. You're gonna have to get out of the house. Maybe you hire a dating coach. Maybe you pay for Hinge Premium. Maybe you say yes to more events, more plans, and that's gonna help you put yourself out there to make this goal a reality. Now, if you are looking to make your eating goals a reality in 2025, this is the program for you. My Confident Eater program is a 6-month program that's going to give you personalized coaching to help you stop overeating and binge eating for good. This is where I walk you through step by step on exactly how to stop overeating that me and over 100 women have used to become natural intuitive eaters. Now, we just got through the holiday season. We're still kind of in it. And if you've been struggling with food during this time of year, I get it. Like this used to be the worst time of year for me where I would gain like literally 10 pounds in like a week. And chances are, though, if you're struggling this time of year, you're struggling the rest of the year too. So this is really an opportunity to make 2025 different in the last year you ever have to make a resolution to change your eating habits. So how the program works is it's a 6-step program. The first pillar we go through is how to create a positive food mindset. This is where you're going to learn how to manage your thoughts and emotions, which is an essential skill to not only stop emotional eating, but for everything in life. So many of my clients talk about how this program has not only transformed their relationship with food, but has also had a major impact on improving every other area of life. So, as you notice when you were writing out your goals, you probably realize, man, if I stop overeating, it's going to be so much easier to have the dream relationship I want to have. I'll be so much kinder to my partner. I'll be able to go out and find that partner I want. I'll be able to achieve my health and fitness goals and actually become healthy long term. So, I don't have to worry about continuing to gaining weight, continuing to having these extra health issues from all the extra sugar and carbs I'm having. I might be more patient with my kids because I'm not so frustrated with myself all the time. Then second, you're going to learn my signature trigger food process. So this is how you learn to stop obsessing over certain foods, which help you feel in control and peace around anything. This is one of my favorite things to teach, which is how to have just one of something. I am not a coach who's going to teach you to cut everything out or to just have everything that you want all the time. Something that you can do on your vision board too is if you want to learn how to eat something in moderation, maybe you literally take a picture of your plate of food with like 2 pieces of chocolate on the side. So you can visualize eating 2 pieces of chocolate as something you're doing in moderation, right? It might feel weird to put chocolate on your vision board, but you're visualizing having it in amounts that feel good to you. Third, we learn the stress-free urge solution. This is how you rewire your habit brain to calmly allow binge urges to pass by. Like I mentioned, we need to understand these unconscious blocks that keep us stuck. And these urges that you get, these strong cravings around food, are ultimately the root cause of why you're stuck overeating. So I teach you many tools on how to handle these urges so you stop acting on them and you can literally change your brain to be this normal natural eater. Fourth, you learn about your hunger and fullness. So how to use your own body signals to guide you as a natural eater. So not using any calorie counts or meal plans, you're going to use your own natural calorie counter that's built into your body already, which is telling you how to eat. Fifth is confidence. You're going to learn how to build unshakable confidence in your body so you can always show up as your highest, best self. And finally, last, you learn about how to maintain your progress. This is so important to me because what can happen when you've struggled with food for a while is it starts to become part of your identity, right? You start to see yourself as I'm just someone who struggles with food. I'm just someone who overeats. And so it can be a hard time believing that we can even become a natural eater. So what we need to do is start to shift our core beliefs. And another little tip that you can do for your vision board here is starting to put on your vision board who you want to be. So I want to be a natural eater. I want to be an intuitive eater. I want to be a confident eater. You can put those words on your vision board to help it become more part of your identity, but this is something we really go in depth with into my program as well. Now, this is my client, Rachel. Rachel was a personal trainer. So she herself, she felt like she should have it all together. So she definitely had a lot of this goal shame about not being where she wanted to be at this point, and she thought, I should know it all. But she decided to join my program because she knew there was something missing. She knew that she didn't have this mindset piece and she wasn't taking action. She knew what to do, but she wasn't doing it. So she said here in her testimonial that her experience was so life-changing as a personal trainer. She thought she could do everything herself. However, saying yes to Amber's program was the best decision I have ever made. She gave me the tools to start listening to my body and mind, allowing me to make decisions and develop habits I never thought possible. She's been dealing with binge eating and overeating for almost 10 years, thinking that was going to be battling her urges forever, but she was able to change that in this program. So how this works is right now I have spots open for private coaching with me. Private coaching is really nice because you're going to get private calls with me every single week. So for 6 months, for 50 minutes, you and I are going to be able to celebrate your wins, really look at what's been going well, learning together and getting coaching. So we're going to become this strong team so you can tackle and solve your eating issues using the latest psychology. This is really what gives you the accountability you've been missing. You might say, like, I do well for a few days and then I just feel like I go off the wagon. That's because you don't have the accountability of someone keeping you on track. So when you have these weekly calls, you're able to say, got to talk to Amber. I got to acknowledge what's been happening. So you're never getting stuck for more than a week at a time. You're never going down into this long overeating binge spiral. We're able to get you up and back on track with your eating goals each week. You're also going to get unlimited text and voice message support with me. And yes, it's seriously unlimited. So you never have to feel lost again in your food journey. There's been times where I so wish I had this, where I could just ask a professional when I was struggling. I have a question about this. I feel like I'm really stressed about Christmas. Should I have another Christmas cookie? Should I not have another Christmas cookie? What should I do here? Or, man, I just had this really big binge and I'm feeling really bad about myself and I'm getting into all or nothing thinking and just telling myself that I've ruined it all. How can I get out of this so I don't keep overeating? That's what I help you do in this unlimited text and voice message support. And then you're also going to get on-demand lessons and worksheets. So you have a full online course that gives you everything you need to know about becoming a natural eater. This is something that I find that a lot of other programs and therapy really misses out on, is they don't tell you, well, how do I actually eat? I remember when I was struggling with food, I literally Googled, how does a normal person eat? Like, how do they decide what to eat in a day? I have no idea. And that's what I'm going to teach you throughout these lessons and worksheets. There's also an app that goes along with this, which is really nice. So you can literally log onto the app anywhere on the go, listening to it in your car, on your walk. So it's really easy to do all the lessons and have like a little coach in your pocket. And this is really going to teach you how naturally thin people eat, what habits they have. One specific thing I have in our bonus section of the course is a daily hypnosis audio. Now, this hypnosis audio is really quick, really easy. I like to keep it very doable. And this is going to walk you through a daily visualization, kind of similar to what we did today, but today's visualization was like the mini version of what we do in my program. So this daily guided hypnosis audio walks you through how to mindfully eat the foods you want and gives you that step-by-step plan. Like I mentioned, my client Ginger, who could have just that half teaspoon or one teaspoon of peanut butter and move on. So on our coaching time together, I can walk you through the lessons so you don't have any additional homework, but most people, they like to save our time for coaching together. And if you have just 1 hour a week, we can help you stop overeating for good. I have really distilled my lessons down into the most important things you need to know. So you don't need like 6 hours a week to do this work. As long as you have the right tools in place and you're doing it in a step-by-step way, you can actually happen much faster than you imagine. Now, here was my other client, Jarrell. Jarrell, he was a nurse. So he kind of also felt like, I'm a nurse. I should know all this stuff already. He was overeating 5 times a week. And by the end of the program, he was down to 0. So he struggled with overeating for so long, he didn't think he'd be able to ever change this. But with Amber's coaching, he can now confidently say that he doesn't overeat anymore. Her constant support and fresh perspective were exactly what I needed to make this change. One thing that Jarrell really loved was our hunger scale tool. The hunger scale is a tool that's going to help you learn, how do I know exactly when to listen to my body? We hear this, well, just listen to your body, but how do you know when to actually eat? And how do you know when to stop when you're full? That's what the hunger scale teaches you to do. So he was someone who was always overeating. He never really felt like he ever got hungry. He was always full and always snacking. He said, I didn't hear hunger for years, but after using the hunger scale, he was able to start to get it where he felt nicely hungry and he ate, and then he stopped at slightly satisfied. And we actually just had our last call together. I think his podcast came out just a few days ago on the Become a Confident Eater podcast. So you can hear his full story there. But we were really both tearing up on the last call as he said, I finally believe that this can last forever. So I want you to know that it doesn't have to be a struggle or a fight. This is something that you can change permanently. You're not lost. You're not stuck. You just haven't had the right tools yet. There was a little issue with the recording, so we're continuing here now because I have a super awesome bonus, which is this bonus VIP day with me. This is something I've only offered once before, and I don't know if I'm going to offer it again anytime soon, and it's something that's worth over $500. So what you get is first a 90-minute deep dive session with me to prep, plan, and set up for a binge-free new year. Now, this is an additional session to our normal sessions where we're really going to learn how to implement the vision board you just created and give you this step-by-step plan so you can get started with stopping overeating and becoming a confident eater as soon as possible. Then you're also going to get a massage gift card. So if there's anything luxurious on your vision board, any type of luxury vibes that you're looking forward to, this VIP day is going to be it. Yes, you get a full massage gift card, and then you're also going to get a welcome gift box delivered right to your doorstep with all my favorite items, such as a 15-minute sand timer and a mini spoon. These are tools that are going to help you eat more mindfully by slowing down your food intake. You're also going to get a custom journal so you can take notes on all of the awesome insights you're going to be having while we coach together. And finally, you're going to get some of my recommended books in addition to so many other fun goodies in that box. Now, this VIP day does expire on Sunday, January 5th. So you must have your consultation booked before then. You can have your consultation call for the following week, but you just have to get it scheduled in before because spots are limited and they are going to fill up quickly. Now, Brooke was someone who had spent over $10,000 on other programs. So she was no stranger to coaching and to getting help and support for her eating habits. She said her eating disorder was consuming her life. She couldn't go enjoy holidays or go to dinner with friends because I'd be worried about what I'd be eating all the food in sight. My brain felt like it would explode with all the urges. After finding Amber and going through her program, I feel a sense of lightness and trust in myself. I wish I would have found her sooner. I would have recovered earlier if I knew I wouldn't need to gain weight in order to be healed. I would actually lose weight. Thank you, Amber, for changing my life. This is a really common conception that if we want to stop binge eating, we kind of have to like redo this idea that, okay, we want to lose weight. Now we have to be okay with gaining weight. But that's not the truth. What the truth is if you stop overeating and binge eating, if you change your eating habits, you will actually end up going in the direction of your dream body, of where you're really supposed to be. Now, I have a full money back guarantee for this program because I've built this Confident Eater program to ensure the top level of support with the best techniques in the industry. And I backed it up with this guarantee to make sure that you feel comfortable and confident in your decision to make this investment and truly stop binge eating for good. So you have two options here. You can continue wasting time, money, and energy with random and inconsistent actions, which will keep you stuck overeating into the next year. So I want you to really consider, where will this next year go if you stay the same? Or we have option 2, which is where you can get a step-by-step proven plan to stop overeating using the latest psychology to make sustainable habit changes for good. Imagining yourself 1 year from now where you have stopped overeating, you're living in alignment with your goals, and you're feeling free, energized, and confident. This future can be so much closer than you imagine, and it just starts with the first step, which is booking a consultation with me. I can help stop you binge eating for good. You don't have to do this alone. So what your next steps are you're going to click the link below, and this is going to be to book a free consultation with me and pick a time on my calendar to talk. And then on our consultation, you'll get to know this program even deeper, decide if it's for you or not. And this call alone, people have been so impressed with because you'll get so much awareness and changes to your eating habits with this call alone. And then you'll begin your journey to become binge free for life. So if you join the Confident Eater program, we'll get you all set up and creating the habits of a natural eater. So thank you so much for being here today. I hope that this workshop inspired you to dream big for 2025 and to take action to make it happen. Don't forget to book your consultation call before Sunday to snag that VIP bonus before it disappears. My calendar does tend to fill up pretty quickly, and once spots are full, they are full, so get in as soon as you can. If you want to post about your vision board, you can join my free Facebook group, Become a Confident Eater, and I'd love to see it there. You're also welcome to email me your vision board so I can see it. And otherwise, you guys have a great rest of your day.